All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining our monthly webinar series with the Congresswoman. My name is Michael Stadelmeyer. I'm the District Director for Congresswoman Tenney's office here in Victor, New York. This webinar series is going to be with the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, on best practices for the filing season. This webinar will be posted later on, but I wanted to introduce Carolyn Singh from the IRS, who's going to be presenting today. So thank you all for attending. Carolyn, I will hand it off to you now.
Okay, thank you, Michael, and good morning, everyone. Just give me a second to share some slides with you. Okay, perfect. Okay, so good morning again, everyone, and thank you to Congressman Tenney and staff, Michael, Jason, and for the opportunity to join today's session and share some filing season resources with you. So to give you a sense of where we are in the filing season with federal tax returns, on January 23rd, the IRS began accepting 2022 individual returns. The deadline for filing is April 18th, and taxpayers requesting an extension will have until October 16th to file. Now, it's important to note that the October 16th extension is not an extension to pay taxes owed. So, for example, if a taxpayer owes taxes and requests an extension to file, interest could possibly accrue on those payments. So throughout the filing season, on the next slide, we have a number of important reminders we really want taxpayers to keep in mind when filing returns. We encourage them to do a number of things. First is to file electronically whenever possible and use direct deposit in order to be issued a refund faster. One of the second big reminders we're letting taxpayers know about is to ensure that they have accurate information when filing returns. And lastly, we have a number of resources on irs.gov. So visit irs.gov for finding answers to questions. These reminders are really important, especially with regard to ensuring accurate information is entered on returns, because errors can delay a tax refund, and that could potentially result in other delays. So please keep this in mind and be sure to gather and organize records correctly. For the most part, in general, we expect that most taxpayers will receive their refund within 21 days of when they file electronically, and if they choose direct deposit, and there are no issues with their tax return. We're also encouraging taxpayers to not overlook important tax credits that they may be eligible for. We also have some online tools that will allow taxpayers to determine eligibility for certain credits and whether they need to file a tax return. Also, the IRS is reminding taxpayers to be careful when selecting a tax professional. Though most tax professionals provide honest, high-quality service, a small number of dishonest preparers operate each filing season, perpetuating things like refund fraud, identity theft, and other scams that hurt innocent taxpayers. Scammers use regular mail. They use things like the telephone to call and target taxpayers. They also use email to set up individuals, businesses, and payroll and tax professionals. So some of the important things to keep in mind when trying to identify whether a legitimate communication is coming from the IRS. For example, the IRS does not initiate contact with taxpayers by email, text messages, or social media channels to request personal financial information. So on the next slide, I'm also highlighting some of those credits that I mentioned earlier. There are some changes to be aware of. For example, there are no new stimulus payments for 2022, but taxpayers may qualify for other credits such as the premium tax credit, which helps cover health insurance premiums purchased through the health insurance marketplace. And eligibility rules have also changed for the clean vehicle credit. We're also highlighting changes to certain tax credits that are returning to 2019 pre-COVID levels because temporary changes in recent years were not extended or made permanent. And what this means is that affected taxpayers will likely receive a smaller refund compared to with the previous tax year. Some of these changes include amounts for the child tax credit, the earned income tax credit, and the child and dependent care credit. For example, those who got $3,600 for the dependent credit per dependent for 2021 for the child tax credit, if eligible, will get $2,000 for the 2022 tax year. For the EITC, eligible taxpayers with no children who received roughly $1,500 for 2021 will now get about up to $500 for 2022. The child and dependent care credit also returns to the maximum of $2,100 instead of $8,000 for 2021. In addition to the changes in those credits, we're reminding taxpayers about the American Opportunity Tax Credit, which can be for up to $2,500 per eligible student with qualifying educational expenses. More information about the credits and deductions can be found at the link at the bottom of this slide, but we really want to highlight these credits because they provide an important financial boost for working families and in some cases can greatly reduce poverty. So in addition to some of the credits, we also have a number of resources to help with filing returns. We have a free filing resources that are available through the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance and the Tax Counseling for the Elderly programs. More information about locations and eligibility can be found on irs.gov/FIDA or by calling the 800 number on the screen. Members of the military and veterans may also qualify for free tax prep help through the Mill Tax program that's available through the Department of Defense. The Free File program also offers eligible taxpayers access to tax filing products for free. In some instances, taxpayers may receive free state filing assistance as well. And the income thresholds for receiving assistance through the traditional free file versus the free fillable forms is above or below $73,000. So on this slide, information about requesting a face-to-face meeting for help from the IRS is included. With the enactment of the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRS has hired more than 5,000 new telephone assisters and added more in-person staff to help support taxpayers during the tax filing season. An appointment can be requested by calling the 844 number listed here. And I've included information with the nearest taxpayer assistance centers to the Congresswoman's district, which are in Rochester and Syracuse. This year, many IRS taxpayer assistance centers across the country are opening on Saturdays for special hours from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. to offer in-person help without an appointment. This in-person help is available through the tax, does not include filing returns, but assistance with other IRS account issues. And more information about these hours and locations can be found online at the link on the screen. So I also wanted to share some additional resources for the filing season. We have a number of publications and telephone numbers for different types of assistance, whether you're an individual, a business, a nonprofit, or an individual with a disability that needs any special assistance through our TTY or interpretation services. Those are also available. We offer help in more than 350 languages, so please don't hesitate to request our interpretation services if needed. And two of the final resources we want to highlight are the Where's My Refund page and the IRS To Go mobile app. On the refund page, you can find the status of your refund. On the IRS To Go mobile app information, you can check your refund status as well, but you can also make a payment, find free tax preparation assistance, sign up for helpful tax tips, and more. The IRS To Go mobile app is available in both English and Spanish as well. So with that, I will stop there and turn it back to Michael for any questions that you might have. But of course, thank you for your time and assistance. And
Thank you so much, Carolyn. I appreciate it. If there are any questions from the group, feel free to utilize either the chat function or the Q&A function at the bottom of your screens. And Carolyn, were there any best practice questions or generally asked questions that you've run into at all from filers? I know that what you had given was incredibly comprehensive, and so thank you for that. And especially for including the locations that people can receive help from the IRS directly. If there were any general questions that you've seen, then I'd appreciate it.
Mhm. Well, I think some of the ones that come to mind are whether someone needs to file a tax return. We have a number of tools online to help determine whether someone is required to file a return or if there's any benefit to filing a return. So for example, if someone has Social Security income and they're not sure whether they're required to file a return, we have a number of tools online that can help them determine their eligibility for credits, as well as the income thresholds and what's needed for the IRS filing requirements.
Okay, understood. Thank you. I am not seeing any questions so far in the chat. I'll give it just one extra minute in here just in case there are any questions. But I will just open this up and say, please utilize the information that the IRS has provided. If there are any questions, you can utilize those, or you can call one of our 3 offices. And we also have a satellite office in Watertown as well. But our 3 offices are in Oswego, Victor, and Lockport. Feel free to call us with any questions or concerns or comments. And again, the information has been incredible here provided by the IRS. So with that, I don't see any further questions, but I will just close it at that. But thank you so much, Carolyn. I appreciate it for all that you're doing to get this information out there for the Congresswoman. And so on behalf of her office, thank you very much. With that, I don't see any other questions, so I will leave it at that. Thank you, everybody, for your time. And Carolyn, were there any other parting words or any last minute info that you wanted to share?
Now, other than just visiting irs.gov, if there are any questions, we've been doing a lot of expanding of different programs and making more resources available to taxpayers. So if you have a question, don't hesitate, whether it's trying to file a preparer or free filing resources, just visit irs.gov.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And again, thank you everybody for joining. We will be posting this info online on the Congresswoman's site, tenny.house.gov, her official website. So thank you everybody for joining. Have a good day. Thank you so much, Carolyn. I appreciate it.